Hi, this is Alexander Gow from Oh Mercy, and you're listening to Torrent This with Dando.
Now, I am joined on the line by one of the most talented young songwriters in Australia today. His band's latest album, Great Barrier Reef, has earned them an ARIA nomination, and they'll be appearing at the Queenscliff Music Festival on November 27th. I'm, of course, talking about Oh Mercy, and I'm lucky to be joined on the line by their singer, Alex. Alex, thanks for your time, man, and how's things?
Yeah, my pleasure. Things are good. I've had a sleep-in today for the first day in ages, and I've just spent a lazy day around the house, so I'm in a good mood.
Yeah, because you guys just on tour at the moment, aren't you? We might have just finished.
Yeah, we're between a few different kind of tours, like a couple of our own tour and a support tour with Steely Dan, and I'm about to do the Finn Brothers tribute tour that they all have their way. So pretty busy.
I saw on Facebook that you guys have you've driven 47.5 hours back to Melbourne in Pauline. Who was that harder on, you guys or Pauline?
Pauline, I was just thinking about that. Pauline's our Toyota base. She just doesn't stop. She's incredible. We've had it for about 3 years, and I don't know. All we have to do is fill her with petrol and clean the windscreen, and she's good. She's pretty amazing. But yeah, whatever it was, that 47.5 hours in 5 days up from Melbourne up to Brisbane and back down with a couple of gigs in between was slightly punishing, but it's all part of what we're in it for, and we knew that was part of the deal, and it's good. Sorry about the washing machine's just finished. That's all.
No, that's cool. Don't worry about it.
But yeah, I mean, it's just great. Luckily for me, I'm friends with everyone in my band, so it's kind of fun as well.
Yeah, I saw on Facebook too. What was with that hate mail that was on your Facebook page about some homophobia comment or something Simon made?
No, that was actually in relation to a comment that I made.
Oh, okay.
I've got this song at the moment that is written from the perspective of a woman, and I introduce it as like a gay love song, and we're in Queensland, and I said that's something you're going to have to get used to, Queensland, with like a bit of a cheeky smile on my face, considering that they're kind of considered a pretty conservative part of Australia, which I assumed that everyone there would find hilarious, and the majority of them did. We got a raucous laugh from the crowd, and people came up to me after and said how much they liked the song and how kind of brave it was to write from that perspective. And one particular woman got offended that I thought that that she, I suppose she thought that I was saying that all Queenslanders are homophobic, and she I don't know, she didn't take it as lighthearted as everyone else did. But that's fine. You impress 1,000 people, and you're going to have one or two that aren't.
Well, but pissing people off though, man, that's just part of the fun, isn't it?
It is for me.
The current lineup of the band do you think this is how Oh Mercy will remain?
Sure. We've just added a fifth member to the band. Her name's Annabelle Grigg. She plays the piano. So we've been looking for a piano player for a little while now, and she's fitted in really well. She's a great musician and a wonderful person, and and the rest of the band's been together now for like the longest period that Oh Mercy have ever existed. So yeah, I'd like to think that these guys will be around for a little while. I know that our guitarist Simon is a songwriter in his own right, and he's been working on some new solo stuff, which, I mean, the way that I met Simon was through his band in Perth, and he's a terrific songwriter. So I would hate to ever think that I was getting in the way of his stuff, but at the moment he's really happy to be in the group, and he's working on his stuff on the side, but who knows, it might be the day where that becomes his priority, and I'll completely respect that. But for the foreseeable future, this is a lineup.
Yeah. Does touring with the same people though for such long periods of time, does it ever lead to like petty bickering between a lot of yous, or?
It does to some bands, but luckily we were all close friends before we became a band, so we were a pretty respectful bunch of people, and we know how to upset one another, but we usually, most of the time we choose not to. It's just kind of like if you're going to have to spend 50 hours in the van with people over 5 days, and being as polite to one another as possible is usually better than causing pain.
Yeah. How do you go balancing touring with your personal life? Do you still get to go out and party with your friends, or?
When I'm home, I live with my friends, so that's a good start.
That's a plus.
I live with the guys from the Panics, who are another great Australian group.
I didn't know. That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, so we live together in Fitzroy and spend a bit of, when I'm home, I'm with them. So if they're not on tour, that is. And my social life is fine. And we've got friends all over Australia, so when we're travelling around, we're seeing all those people as well. So I consider myself lucky from that perspective.
Well, getting to the new album, latest album, Great Barrier Reef, it didn't take very long at all to become one of my favourite albums I've heard in a very long time. Was the finished product just as you'd hoped it would be?
Yeah, it was. Before I went into the recording studio, I had a bunch of songs, and I knew that I wanted to make an album that was quite boldly simple in arrangement and lacking production kind of techniques that some other records have at the moment.
Yeah. Like double tracking and stuff?
Yeah, just, massive soaring harmonies with, 50 years of reverb on it and, layering instruments upon one another, which is fine. Like, it's just another way to make music and it's really effective. But, I just didn't want that for this particular record. So I went in there with, wanting to make it as simple as possible. And making a simple recording is in some ways more difficult than like an incredibly, epic recording. So, the finished product was 11 songs that, with hardly much instrumentation on it at all, but everything that's there is very, very considered and has its own place. And I think the thing that I found was most important to me about the songs was the mood and the lyric, and I think that came across as being the most important thing, as opposed to the lead guitar or the way that the effect that the snare had on it or whatever it was. The songs are still in the limelight. So it's definitely ended up as I hoped it would.
How many songs did you leave off that you felt were worthy of making the final cut?
Well, there was a good handful that could have, there was like a handful of songs that were battling for the last, the 11th track on the record. Not literally in terms of its track listing, but I needed 11 songs, and there was 5 that I couldn't pick between. And then post that there was another 20 or plus that were just kind of plainly not quite good enough. So that was really difficult. But like I said, there was always 9 or 10 that were definitely going to make it. So the hardest bit was just picking the 1 or 2 out of that smaller group. But that's just part of making a record, and those songs aren't going anywhere. They still exist, so they might pop up at some other time in one way or another.
The song Blue Lagoon, I love that song, and you've said yourself it's your favourite. Why is this?
I don't know, it's something about like the melody of it and the mood, and it's just a mixture of everything that makes up a song. Like, I think melodically it's one of the most interesting ones I've done, and lyrically it's kind of it's shrouded in metaphor, but it's a semi-explicit song about a physical relationship between a man and a woman, and I just think it really summed up like a mood and like a desperation in terms of like a longing for someone that I felt at the time, and I think that mood was just really well represented in the lyric and the music of the song, and it just all those elements came together, and I really love playing it, and it's probably my favourite to listen to as well.
What's more important to you, writing the lyrics or the music? Is the lyrics more important or the music?
I think that the lyrics are more important for me, but not to say that the music isn't. I don't really consider myself like a singer-songwriter in that kind of traditional sense, like the kind of the troubadour image of the guy with the acoustic guitar, when it's all about the poetry or whatever. But I'm interested in band music. I really love the way that music can move people as well.
Yeah, same.
But having said that, I do write the lyrics first, and it's the most important thing for me. But not that I neglect the music, not at all.
Is there a kind of routine or ritual you go through when you're writing the music?
Yeah, in a way. It's like usually a phrase or like a sentiment will kind of, I'll stumble across, and it'll stick with me for a little while. And if it's a strong enough one, then I might add a couple of lines to it, and just in my head brain say, I'd love to get that word or that phrase into a song. And if it kind of sticks with me long enough, I might sit down and play something on the guitar, and I don't know how it happens, but sometimes it happens, and it usually starts with like a lyric or a sentiment, and if it's a good one, it sticks, and if it sticks, then I usually have to kind of follow through and put it to music.
One thing I've noticed from watching dozens of interviews on YouTube with you is that you seem like such a quiet, shy, modest kind of guy. Surely you must realise how talented you really are, though.
I don't think I'm modest. It's like I'm definitely ambitious. I really want to be a musician for the rest of my life, and I put a lot of time and effort. I take it incredibly seriously, and I think we have been lucky, but there's also been a lot of hard work put into it from our side as well, and from my side in terms of trying to develop myself as a songwriter. I suppose maybe I have kind of subversive sometimes in a more understated way. Like I might come across as quiet and modest, but there's kind of other sides to me that come out in the songs and in other parts of my personality, I guess.
Yeah. Well, moving along to the Queenscliff Music Festival, how were you guys approached to be part of the Triffid set?
Well, Triffid's my favourite Australian band, probably with the Go-Betweens. So I've loved their music for a while. I suppose I've talked about them in interviews a few times, and if you do that long enough, I suppose one of them is going to go, hey, who's this kid that keeps on talking about us, and I checked out our music, and I met them through, seeing some other shows around Melbourne, friends of theirs and groups, and, kind of struck up a friendship with the guitarist, Robert McComb, who was the brother of David McComb, their songwriter and singer, who's passed, and about 10 years ago. And so when it came time to putting their show back together, they need guest vocalists, and they asked if I'd do it, and of course, I'd love to. And then next to that, they asked if the band wanted quite literally get on stage and play some Triffid songs to start the setup and some of the early singles, and it's like, are you kidding? It's like, yeah. It's just they're an incredibly adored band throughout Australia, and even more adored in Europe. And I was just like, I just feel so privileged to be asked and to be part of it. As so many people would murder me for the opportunity.
Yeah.
So I'm really lucky, and the band we're so excited, and it's going to definitely be like the highlight of my short career.
Where would you love to tour that you haven't already?
I'd like to tour through Europe. We haven't done that. We kind of concentrated on America, so I'd really like to see France and Germany and Spain. But I'll go anywhere. I don't really. I'm just interested. I'm interested in traveling. So I'm interested in going up to. I really want to go up to the Kimberleys, and check out Broome and Alice Springs, or the parts of Australia that we haven't seen yet.
Well, and we're running just a little bit short on time, so just a couple more questions. What advice do you have for other young songwriters out there trying to break into the business?
Trying to break into the business, right? I don't know. It's like maybe I just take that business part out of it.
Yeah.
I feel that like if you're good enough, or if you're true to yourself enough, if you've got something special, then usually the business side just takes care of itself.
Yep.
It's a complex beast on its own, but as just developing as a songwriter, I suppose it just depends on what it is you want to do and what effect you want to have on your listener. See, when I write music, I want people to understand that I care about my songs, and I take it seriously, but and that I obviously enjoy writing lyrics that might make put people off guard for a second, or I like to write a lyric that's maybe romantic in a kind of subversive way, and so that's what I enjoy doing. But people need to work out what it is they want to do. Maybe they would just want to make girls dance, which is fine, which is great, or maybe they want to make soundscapes to make for people to listen to it, through films or something like that. But you need to work out what's important to yourself, and that's the hardest thing. Once you've worked out what kind of effect you want to have on your audience, all you can do is just practice and hone in and work out what you like, and probably more importantly, work out what you don't like about that particular kind of music, and just do your homework. It's 80% of it is doing your homework, listening to other groups, and just studying their stuff, and like, why is that effective? Why do I like that? Why don't I like that? And once you've worked that out, then it's going to be easier for you to do what you want to do well. And then, like I said, hopefully once you got to that stage, the bit of luck, the business side takes care of itself. Yeah.
One thing I love about your music and about your songs is I'll listen to it a few times, and then I'll listen to it again, say 10 minutes later, and there's a lyric that I didn't hear the first time, and I just pick up on new lyrics every time. I just really love the way you write your songs.
Thanks very much. Yeah, like I said earlier, the lyrics are pretty important to me, and on that record, and it's quite heavily lyrical based, so I don't really expect everyone to kind of pick up on it instantly. And I like the fact that it's people can come back to it and hear new things every time. That's great.
And one last question: If you could ask Bob Dylan any question, what would it be?
I suppose I'd just ask him to forgive him to forgive us for nicking his album for
All right, well, there you go. Make sure you pick up a copy of Oh Mercy's latest album, Greatest Barrier Grief. It's all I've been listening to in my car for the past 3 weeks. It's an absolute awesome album, a must for any real music lover. And don't forget to check them out live when they take the stage at Queenscliff Music Festival on November 27th. Once again, Alex, thanks for your time, man, and good luck with the rest of the year.
Thanks so much. It's a pleasure to talk to you.
Thanks, man. Catch you later.